The wrong call. The alarm did not stop. It screamed through the Galactic Council Hall like a living thing. Lights flashed red across the silver walls. Officers ran from one screen to the next. Every report was worse than the last. Commander Rylos stood in the center and tried to breathe. His hands were shaking, but he kept them behind his back. He watched the star map. One by one, the council worlds were turning dark. Burning cities, lost fleets, silent colonies. An aide spoke in a broken voice. Enemy ships have crossed the 6th line. They are moving toward the capital. They are not asking for surrender. Ryler's throat fell dry. He knew this enemy. The Caldrix Empire. Cold machines and fearless soldiers. They did not negotiate. They erased everything. And now they were coming for the heart of the galaxy. The High Council argued in circles. Send more fleets. Call the allies. Activate the ancient defenses. But every option had already failed. Every fleet they sent came back as wreckage. Every ally was too far or already burning. Ryler's eyes moved to the oldest screen in the room. A forgotten archive terminal. It was covered in dust. No one used it anymore. It held records from the first expansion age. Names of dead empires. Lost wars. Danger warnings. He stepped closer and wiped the dust away. A file opened on its own. Human territory restricted access. Deathworld species. Extreme endurance. Unpredictable aggression. Do not provoke. Ryler's heart beat faster. Humans. Most of the galaxy only knew small stories. A few trade ships. A few silent colonies. And rumors that humans vanished into deep space. An advisor whispered, "Humans will not answer. They left us. They do not care about council laws." Ryler's turned toward the council leaders. His voice was quiet, but it carried. "We are out of choices. We can die proud, or we can live afraid, and hope the Deathworlders still remember what a distress call means." Silence filled the hall. Even the alarms sounded distant for a moment. The council leader asked, "If they come, what will they want?" Ryler's looked back at the warning line on the screen. "Do not provoke." He swallowed. "Maybe they will want nothing. Maybe they will want everything. But if we do nothing, we lose everything anyway." The council leader gave a slow nod. "Send the signal." The old terminal hummed. A single ancient beacon code lit up. The message was simple. "This is the Galactic Council. We are under attack. We request immediate aid." Ryler's watched as the signal shot into the stars. And for a long moment, nothing happened. Then the terminal screen changed. A reply came faster than light should allow. 2 words only. Message received. Silence in the dark. The reply should have brought comfort, but it did not. It made the council hall feel colder than before. Commander Rylos stared at the words message received, and he felt a deep fear that he could not explain. The council leader leaned forward. "How fast can they arrive?" An officer checked the data. There is no location tag, no fleet count, no time mark. Only those 2 words. Minutes passed, then an hour. Outside the council station, the stars looked calm and empty. But the war map was alive with danger. Caldrix ships were cutting through the last defense line. Their path was straight toward the capital world. Ryler's walked to the window and watched the planet below. Blue oceans, white clouds, shining cities. Millions of lives moving without knowing how close the end was. He tried to imagine humans coming to help. Small ships arriving late. Brave, but useless. He tried to believe that story. Then the sensor chief spoke again. Unknown gravitational movement detected. Bearing deep void sector. Range too far for visual. Ryler's turned quickly. "Show it." The screen showed nothing at first. Just empty space and cold numbers. Then the numbers climbed. Mass readings rising. Energy shadows spreading. Something huge was bending the dark around it. Another officer whispered, "That is not one ship. That is a moving wall." The council leader stepped back. "Is it the enemy?" Ryler's forced his voice to stay calm. "No Caldrix drives leave a heat trail. This is different. Too quiet. Too clean." The lights in the hall flickered. For a second, every display went black, then returned with warning signs. The station computers began to struggle like they were drowning. The unknown object was pulling on reality itself. A young aide asked, "Could it be a black hole?" The sensor chief shook his head. "No, it is controlled. It is coming here on purpose." Rylers looked again at the empty space on screen. Then a small point appeared, a dot of pale light. Then another. Then a thin line like a cut in the sky. Space opened. A shadow pushed through. It was so large that the camera could not hold it fully. White armor plates like ice. Dark marks like old battle scars. And engines that did not burn orange or red. They glowed a deep blue like cold fire. The ship moved with slow certainty, as if it owned the stars around it. No escorts yet. No radio calls. No banners. Only silence. The council leader whispered, "That is one ship. Where is the rest?" Rylers felt his chest tighten, because he understood something now. Humans did not rush. They arrived with control, with patience, with confidence. The enemy fleet was still hours away, but the human warship was already here, waiting like a predator that had smelled blood long ago. Then the human ship finally transmitted, a calm voice without emotion. "This is Terran Fleet Command. Repeat your threat level." Rylers stepped toward the mic. His mouth was dry. He spoke slowly. "Caldrick's Empire fleet approaching. Capital world in danger. We request immediate defense." The human voice answered without pause. "Confirmed." Then the line went silent again. Outside the window, the human ship drifted closer, and Rylers saw something that made his skin turn cold. Behind the first ship, far in the void, more shadows were forming. Many more. The Armada arrives. The stars began to change. At first, it looked like the void was breathing. Small ripples moved across empty space. Then the ripples became lines, and the lines became cracks. Commander Rylers could not blink. He stood near the window and watched. His hands were tight around the edge of the console. Every officer in the hall had gone silent. Even the alarms felt weak now. The first human ship stayed still, a giant white blade floating in darkness. Its blue engines glowed like calm eyes. It did not move to protect the station. It did not hurry toward the enemy. It simply waited, as if the battle was already decided. Then the second human ship arrived. It tore open space with a smooth flash. It was wider than the first. Its hull carried deep marks, like claws had scraped it many times. But it looked stronger because of those scars. Then a third came, then a fourth, and then the sky started filling fast. Each arrival was silent. No loud boom, no burning portal, just a clean cut in space, and a warship sliding out like a sleeping monster waking up. Rylers heard the sensor chief whisper numbers. Mass count increasing. Energy grid rising. Fleet signature unknown. Too many to track. The council leader walked closer to the window. His face was pale. He had expected help, but this was not help. This was a storm. Outside the station, the Armada formed a wide line. Dreadnoughts shaped like long spears, carriers like floating cities, and heavy ships with massive side cannons. Even their smallest escorts looked deadly. One carrier opened its side doors, and thousands of tiny lights spilled out. Human fighters, small and fast, moving in perfect patterns, like a swarm that knew exactly where to bite. An officer gasped. "They have enough ships to fight the whole council. Why would they bring this much?" Rylers had no answer, but inside his mind, he remembered the warning. Deathworld species. Unpredictable aggression. Do not provoke. He watched as a human flagship drifted into the center. It was darker than the rest. Black metal with silver lines. Its nose pointed toward the enemy direction, like it was already staring at them. Then the human voice returned on open channel. "This is Admiral Kane, Terran Armada Command. We received your distress call. We are here now." The council leader forced himself to speak. "We thank you, Admiral. We need you to defend the capital." The Admiral replied, "Negative. We are not defending. We are ending." Those words struck the room like ice. Ending. Not delaying. Not holding. Ending. Rylers looked back at the war map. The Caldrick's fleet icons were moving closer. They were still confident. They did not know what waited for them. Then a new signal appeared on screen. Enemy broadcast. Their message was short and mocking. Surrender and be erased. The council officers trembled, but the Terran admiral answered the enemy directly. No anger, no fear, only cold certainty. You have entered human response space. You will not leave. Outside the station, the human armada powered up. Blue lights spread across every ship, like the stars themselves had turned into weapons. The first strike. The Caldric's fleet arrived like a dark tide. Thousands of ships shaped like blades and claws. Their hulls were black and sharp. Their engines burned sick green. They filled the distant sky until it looked crowded with hate. Commander Rylos watched from the council station. His breathing was slow, but his heart was loud. The Caldrics had destroyed fleets twice this size before. They moved with cruel confidence, already firing long-range missiles, already sending attack drones. The first wave of missiles crossed the void, a wide storm of metal and fire. It should have been the beginning of the end. But the Terran Armada did not run. It did not spread out. It moved forward. Human dreadnoughts formed a wall. Carriers drifted behind them. Fighters gathered in clouds like angry insects. And then a new light appeared. Blue shields, not small bubbles, not thin screens, but wide glowing barriers, layer after layer, like a shining ocean rising in space. The Caldric's missiles hit the first shield line. They vanished, not exploding, not breaking through. They simply disappeared, as if the shields swallowed them whole. The Caldric's fleet paused. Their attack slowed. Their formation shifted. For the first time, Rylos saw confusion in their movement. Then the Terran admiral spoke on open channel again. Calm voice. Weapons systems ready. Begin Phase 1. Human fighters launch forward. Thousands of them, moving so fast the camera struggled. They did not fly in random swarms. They flew like a sharp blade, straight into the enemy front line. The Caldric's fired beams and flak. Space lit up with green and red. But the human fighters weaved through it, dodging with perfect timing. And then they struck. Small explosions appeared on enemy ships. First on weapon mounts, then on engines, then on command cores. Caldric's ships began to spin and drift, dead in the void. Then the dreadnoughts fired. Rylos had seen plasma cannons before. He had seen particle beams. He had seen the old council super lasers. None of them looked like this. The Terran ships released thin white lines, silent beams, so bright they made the screens dim. They hit the enemy like divine judgment. One beam cut through 3 ships in a row. Another beam split a carrier in half, and the broken parts kept burning as they drifted apart. The Caldric's fleet tried to answer. They charged forward. They opened their own heavy weapons. A wave of green energy surged toward the Terran line. The Terran shields held. They rippled like water. They did not crack. They did not break. They absorbed the attack and stayed calm. Then the Terran Armada changed formation. Ships rotated. Side cannons opened. Massive doors slid apart, revealing weapons that looked ancient and unstoppable. The Admiral spoke one more time. Phase 2. And the space between fleets turned into fire. Enemy ships began to explode everywhere. Not 1 or 2, but dozens. Then hundreds. Rylos saw the Caldric's line bending backward. Their perfect attack was breaking. Their confidence was dying. Then a new symbol appeared on the war map. A massive Caldric's weapon platform, hidden behind their fleet. The sensor chief shouted, "They are charging a planet killer cannon." Rylos felt his blood turn cold. The cannon aimed past the Terran ships, toward the capital world below, and the charge level climbed fast. Deathworlder rule. The planet killer platform was bigger than a moon. It floated behind the Caldric's fleet like a dark god. Thick armor plates covered it, and a massive cannon spine ran across its body. Green energy gathered at the mouth of the weapon, growing brighter every second. Commander Rylos felt his legs go weak. The capital world was below. Millions of lives. Children in schools. Workers in towers. Families eating dinner. None of them knew a death beam was being prepared above their sky. The council leader grabbed the comm console. "Admiral Kane, you must stop that weapon." If it fires, we are finished. The Terran admiral answered with the same calm voice. Understood. Hold your panic. We have options. Rylos stared at the human fleet. They were still crushing the Caldric's front line. But the enemy did not care anymore. Their ships kept dying. Yet the planet killer kept charging, as if the Caldric's had chosen to burn everything, even themselves. A Terran officer voice joined the channel. Boarding team ready. Requesting permission. The council leader blinked. Boarding. You will enter that platform. The Terran admiral replied. Affirmative. We cut the head. The body falls. Rylos watched as a small Terran ship broke from the Armada. It was black and thin, too small to matter, but it moved like a knife, straight toward the planet killer. Caldric's defense guns turned and fired. Green beams reached for the small ship, but human fighters swarmed around it, sacrificing themselves, taking hits, exploding in flashes of fire, just to keep the path open. The small Terran ship reached the platform. It vanished into a docking scar, and Rylos could only imagine what was happening inside. Dark corridors, cold metal walls, enemy soldiers waiting like insects, and humans stepping into it anyway. On the outside, the Armada fought harder. Dreadnoughts pushed forward. Carriers launched more waves. The Caldric's fleet tried to block the platform, but human ships smashed through them, not caring about losses, not slowing down. Inside the council hall, the air felt heavy. Every second was a countdown. The planet killer charge climbed higher. 50%, 60, 70. The council leader whispered, they will not make it. Rylos looked at the Terran flagship. Its shields were flickering now. Its hull carried fresh burns, but it did not retreat. The Terran admiral spoke again. Boarding team has reached the core. Stand by. Then a new Caldric's transmission screamed across the channel. A harsh metallic voice filled the room. You called monsters. Now you will die with them. Charge level 90%. Rylos clenched his fists. He wanted to shout. He wanted to beg. But he could do nothing. Then the Terran channel returned. A different voice now. Low and strained. Core room secured. Bomb planted. Timer running. Rylos felt hope rise for one heartbeat. Then the platform changed. It shifted its aim. Not at the planet, but the Terran flagship itself. The cannon locked on. Energy spiked, and it began to fire early. The green beam formed, a line of death, racing toward the human command ship, and the Terran flagship moved forward to meet it. The final message. The green beam hit the Terran flagship like a falling star. Space turned bright. The council station screens flared white. Every sensor screamed overload. For a moment, Commander Rylos thought the human ship would vanish, turn to dust in one silent second. But it did not vanish. The flagship stayed in place. Its shield walls bloomed like a giant blue flower, cracking, shaking, throwing waves of light into the dark. The hull burned. Armor plates melted. Yet the ship did not move back even 1 meter. Rylos heard a council officer whisper. They're holding it. They're stopping the beam. Below them, the capital world remained untouched. The death beam was trapped against Terran shields, like a monster biting a wall that refused to break. The Terran admiral voice came through again. Louder now. Strain hiding under comm. All units full push. Finish the fleet. The Armada answered. Every Terran ship fired together. White beams. Heavy cannons. Missile swarms. Fighter strikes. It looked like the stars were shooting at the enemy. The Caldric's front line collapsed. Ships exploded in chains. Green engines died. Command vessels broke apart. The enemy tried to turn away, but there was no space left to escape. Human ships cut them off, closing the net. Then the planet killer platform began to tremble. Small explosions appeared along its spine. Inside it, something was burning. The boarding bomb timer was reaching 0. Rylos held his breath. His eyes locked on the massive weapon. Its beam was still pushing against the flagship, but the power began to flicker. Green light stuttered, like a dying heartbeat. A final Terran message burst onto the channel. Boarding team, evac complete. Detonation in 3, 2, 1. The planet killer platform split open from the inside. A bright white flash erupted. Green energy exploded outward. The cannon mouth shattered. The entire structure broke into pieces, and the beam died instantly. Silence returned for 1 second. Then the Terran flagship shields faded. Smoke drifted from its hull, but it was still there, alive, standing between the galaxy and death. The remaining Caldric ships tried to run. They turned their engines toward deep space. But the Terran Armada chased them. Fast, merciless, clean. Within minutes, the battle map showed nothing but wrecks. The Caldric's fleet was gone, erased from the sky. In the council hall, many officers fell to their knees. Some cried. Some laughed. Some could not speak at all. The council leader opened the channel. "Admiral Kane, we owe you everything. What do you want in return?" The Terran admiral replied after a short pause. "Nothing. You called for help. We answered." Then his voice became colder. "But send this message to every empire in the galaxy. Do not test human space. Do not threaten weak worlds. Do not build weapons like that again. And do not ever call deathworlders. Unless you want the war finished." The channel closed. Outside the window, the Terran Armada turned slowly, like a storm moving away, leaving the council alive, and the galaxy afraid of who had saved it.